Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
On March 18th and 19th and 25th and 26th, more than 180 New York maple farms open their sugar houses and invite you to experience the world of pure New York maple syrup, from tapping the trees to enjoying it on a piping hot stack of pancakes. Some maple producers will be demonstrating the making of mouth-watering products such as maple cream and maple cotton candy, and most will be offering free samples. Many participating farms will also have a variety of additional activities, including pancake breakfasts, horse and wagon rides, kids' corners, and more. YS. That's 1-800-CALL-New York State. Delicious, pure maple syrup. New York State. Come be a part of it.
Home. It's the place where we go to feel secure, safe, and loved. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we give at-risk youth a place to go where they feel safe, supported, and people care about their future. A place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
At Shriners Hospitals for Children, there are a million reasons to share love. My buddy Caleb is one of them. This is his story.
Hi, I'm Caleb. I was born with spinal bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me.
There are a million reasons to share love, but you only need one. To learn how you can share love, visit loveshriners.org.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
Benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
Did you know that when you make time to talk, read, or sing with your child, you're helping to shape and strengthen their brains for the years to come? As a father, helping my child thrive is the most important thing to me. Each of us has the power to create a strong start for our children and to help them enter school ready to learn and succeed in life, starting from the day they are born. Visit talkingisteaching.org for free tips, resources, and ideas on how to transform everyday moments into magical moments for learning.
You saved my life. You held my hand when I was scared. You helped me say goodbye to my dad. You were an example for me. You gave me strength when I thought I had none left. I couldn't tell you then, but I want to say thank you, all of you, for everything. Thank you to the physicians, nurses, and others working in America's hospitals and health systems. A message from the American Hospital Association, American Medical Association, and American Nurses Association.
Member-supported Jazz 90.1 proudly welcomes you to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes. Call the show now at 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415 or soundbytes.org. Now, alongside Steve Ray and Dave Enright, here's Nick Francesco on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all the chips in the PC. It is Saturday, the 4th day of March, Anno Domini 2023. I heard somebody else say, oh yeah, it's the year of our crazy 2023. And you lucky people, you're listening to Sound Bites. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 6 minutes after the hour, we are going to be bringing you news, views, things to choose, nothing to lose. Kick off your shoes. Don't get the blues. Here comes the news. Phishing schemes with a PH have been spotted by IT security firm Trend Micro, which is warning billions of iOS and Android users about 3 scams revolving around fake emails designed to appear as though they are coming from FedEx, DHL, and Apple. Normally we see these around Christmas, but we're seeing them now as well. Phishing involves sending email or text that impersonates legitimate correspondence from real companies, and the goal is to get you to divulge personal information that could be used to steal money from you. This scheme works by preying on your emotions. For example, you might get a fake text from FedEx that claims you won a prize.
Huh?
Yeah, FedEx giving away prizes. Yeah.
Huh?
And ask you to click on a link to help schedule delivery date and give the delivery firm your address. Who wouldn't want to win a prize? Continuing through the email, you might be asked to leave your name and address and other personal data, and then comes the coup de grace. You are asked for a credit card number, a security code, and an expiration date
I'm still waiting
for your credit card to pay FedEx. If it's a prize, why am I paying FedEx?
And
for delivery.
Yeah.
And if it's a prize, shouldn't it already have your address and information on it already?
You would certainly think so.
I'm still waiting for Ed McMahon to deliver my Publishers Clearinghouse.
That's exactly right. Now, you may be suspicious of that one, but what could get an iPhone user so worried they might feel compelled to give out personal information? How about receiving a text from Apple that says your Apple Wallet has been hacked into? This bogus info comes via a text that screams Apple Pay was suspended on your device. The text says that your Apple Pay account will work once the wallet is reactivated. A link is helpfully provided, and you're then asked to fill out your address, mobile number, and credit card information.
Yeah.
No. One way to protect yourself from phishing schemes is to look for errors in spelling, punctuation, or grammar, since for many of the scammers, English isn't their first language. Although, I won't name the company, but I got an email that was rife with spelling and grammar errors. So, as I always do, rather than answer the email, I logged into the site itself, and it was legit. They just had, I don't know what.
And the bad guys are using more, apparently, grammar checkers because that's kind of on a downturn now. You can't go by that anymore for bad or good.
Be more cynical. The attackers are trying to get you to react emotionally. No one likes to think that their wireless service, electric service, or cable service has been disconnected, and everybody likes to hear that they have a prize coming. But don't open the doors for these scammers. Be wary of any message that makes you feel that you have to restore an account by giving up personal information. It might keep you from getting ripped off. So our poll of the week at soundbytes.org, that is Bytes with a Y, Francis would like us to remind you, is scam email calls are ramping up. Your choices are, I implicitly believe every email or call I get. Nobody would target me. I'm trying to be wary. I'm safe, I'm a curmudgeon. What's email? I don't like any of your choices. So far, we've got 25 votes, and I try to be wary is tied with I'm safe, I'm a curmudgeon. And I knew that one would be right up there this week.
Yeah.
So give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299, toll free, 1-800-790-0415.
And this still throws me back to what I've said right along for years now, a couple decades. If you have to think about an email, delete it.
Right.
And if it is, say, from FedEx or one of these other DHL, or you know what? There's still that device that you carry around in your pocket.
Yeah.
You can actually call and speak to somebody.
Wait, whoa.
Yeah. I know, you're sitting, so I figure you're safe. Yeah.
Wow.
But they're making the messages so scary that especially older people are getting caught by it, that, don't turn off your computer or all your files will be erased. Oh my God, I better call the phone number.
Right. Here's the thing. The thing you want to do is right now while you're calm and you don't have an email or a phone call in front of you, what you want to do is go to your computer and bookmark your bank and all those other places you do business with. Your health provider, if you do PayPal, bookmark that. And then at some point, when you get one of these things, log on to the site you know is legitimate.
Yeah.
Never click the link in the email. It could be fake.
No.
I often get, your account at such and such a bank is frozen. Click here. Well, I don't have an account at that bank. So it's probably...
That's maybe a good point right there.
If it does, but if it's frozen, I don't mind because there's zero in it. On the other hand, I did get one from my actual bank once. So I went to the website that I had already bookmarked, logged in, no trouble. I got a call the other day from a company that said, "Hi, we're from such and so, and can you verify?" Nope, click. And then I went on the website and I saw that there was an issue, and so I resolved the issue from the website.
Yeah.
So one was completely illegitimate and one was real. But I resolved it without having to deal with what might have been a scam on the phone. So get that stuff bookmarked and use it anytime something like that happens. So rather than trusting some jamoke on the other end of an email.
And like I said, though, I had the same thing happen with me at my bank. They, sent me an email that they were locking it down because of suspicious. So I did this other thing. Actually called them.
Yeah.
I says, "You guys, we saw this one thing transact. We just want to make sure it's verified. For the fraud protection unit." I said, "Yep, no, that's legit. All right, we're just double checking. We want to thank you very much." I said, "No, thank you for taking the time, and following through." So you can. Especially any of the banks, you can call a bank and talk to an individual.
And again, get those phone numbers in your phone, keep them, use them. Don't ever click on a link or call a number in an email.
Because, the government isn't going to call you for a tax refund because we're starting to get into that situation now. The tax returns are coming in and they're trying to scam folks. I've saw where they're trying to say, well, there's a holdup on your tax return, call this number. And it's an all-around scam just trying to get the people money out of their...
Again, the particularly take a look at the address on the email.
Yeah.
If it doesn't end in .gov, it ain't real.
It's not from the government.
Right.
And if it's not, PayPal.com, it's not coming from PayPal, claiming there's a problem.
Right.
What's almost a little sad is I did a Google search for phishing is on the rise. Going back years, phishing is on the rise. Attacks are getting more sophisticated. Phishing attacks. Why the rise in years and years and years. So COVID, increasing phishing attacks.
Yep. That's it. Look, they just want your money.
Yep. Any excuse they can find, anything big in the news.
Yep.
We'll try to fish you for that.
Yep. All right, to the phones. Our first caller is Brian from Walworth, New York. Hi, Brian. What's up?
Hi there. I got a question very much related to what you're already talking about.
Excellent.
All the major antivirus companies, Norton, McAfee, Avast, all those places, offer antivirus packages, but then they also offer a whole host of other things that they want to charge you for.
Yeah.
I can take the discussion off. I can let you guys discuss it with me off the phone, but I just like your thoughts on, other than a basic virus package, what are the pros and cons, if any, of these other add-ons? I mean, VPN and software updaters for your drivers, and there's it's a whole raft of other things they'd be more than happy to charge you for.
Yeah, right. That's an excellent question, Brian. Okay, so here's the first thing. Let's talk VPNs. I'm not a fan.
They're overly hyped.
They're way overly hyped.
They basically they do not protect you on the internet.
Right.
They just move who sees where you are from your ISP to the VPN provider.
Right. If you've created your own VPN, which you can do, and I'm sure somebody's going to call and say, "I made my own VPN." If you've made your own VPN, great. But if you did not make your own VPN, then there's still somebody out there who can see where you go and see all the stuff that you send. Who do you trust?
If you need to log into your work while you're at home, then you have a VPN.
They have a VPN that puts you essentially on their network. Yeah. Yes. That's the point of a VPN. Any other VPN is just moving the goalpost. And most VPNs are slow. Any site that you go to that has HTTPS or the little lock on the screen is already encrypted. Yep. Encrypting it again isn't going to do very much.
And most of the most of the browsers now have reversed it. They warn you when it's not encrypted,
Right.
because every page pretty much is encrypted these days.
Right, you get the little "this site is not secure" page.
Yeah.
So VPNs, again, as Steve said, if it's your business that has a VPN, yes, absolutely use that. Beyond that, not so much.
The one thing it does let you do, and the legality of which is in question,
right,
is you can turn your VPN on, say you're in England, and watch BBC.
Right.
Without paying a license, so you're violating two laws there.
Right.
International.
But in talking about legitimate reasons to
Yes.
use them, there aren't very many. Now let's talk a little bit about spam and things like that. It depends on who your email provider is. Google does, I have to say, an amazing job catching spam. I very rarely get spam in any of my Gmail-based addresses. Some others I get spam 50 times a day. But in that case, I would say it depends on who your provider is as to whether you need that kind of spam protection.
And the way they do spam protection is they read all your mail first to
Right.
see if there's anything they think or spam is in it. So now you have to trust them to read all your mail.
Well, and they're not a human reading it.
Yeah.
It's a machine.
But
They could,
Yeah.
but they could. Now let's talk about protection on websites and things like that. It's important, I think, to have protection on websites because there's so many drive-by virus downloads. The problem with having Norton or somebody else do it and you pay them is that there are an amazing number of free ones that are as good, if not better.
And most of the browsers do it for you.
And most of the browsers do it for you. I use a program called uBlock Origin, which it's amazing what it blocks. I am currently on a website that is blocking 891 things. I don't know what those things are,
but it's doing it.
But there's 891 of them that are no longer bothering me. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. As for drivers and stuff like that, it depends on the machine you own. So for example, first, taking that need to go and look for drivers out of the hands of lazy people is a good thing. So I get that. But you can do it for free by regularly going to, if you have a Dell or an HP or one of those name brand things, you can generally go to their website, put in your serial number or your service tag number or whatever, and it will tell you what drivers are available.
And they pretty often have programs that come pre-installed on those name brand PCs that do that for you.
Right.
And many of them hand it off to Windows Update.
Right.
So you don't need to do that anyway because Windows Update is already doing it.
Right. So in general, most of that stuff I don't bother with. In a couple of instances, it makes it more convenient for you, and if you're willing to pay for that, that's your choice. But in general, it is not. None of that stuff is something you need to pay for.
And then one of the other thing, especially from Norton, is since they've partnered with LifeLock, they're doing these services where you get LifeLock and Norton, where they claim to search the dark web for your information.
Right.
Well, it's already there. You just assume that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And in fact, the
answer that comes back is never no. It's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the CEO of LifeLock has gotten in trouble many times over the years.
Yeah.
For over touting his services, and he'll give his Social Security number on his commercials. It must be safe. No, he's been hacked hundreds of times.
Hundreds. Yeah. Greaser1 says in our chat, by the way, our Soundbites chat, you can see the link right on our homepage. Says VPNs allow you to search for products on Amazon, and then you don't get bombarded with ads for those items later on. That's true. Is a very narrow use case. I'm not sure I would pay for.
That's not handled by a VPN. That's a cookie on your browser.
Right. That's just a cookie on your browser. So
so uBlock would stop that.
uBlock stops much of that. There's a program, for example. There's something I think it's called Facebook Fence. I think
heard of
that does the same thing. Again, it's free. So again, I'm not entirely sure what a VPN gives me that I can't get for free.
And just as secure.
Again, unless it's your business that has a VPN, and then it's still free to you. So again, I'm not sure what a VPN gives you that you don't get for free.
False sense of security.
False sense of security. Yes, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a.
And also, and a lot of the antivirus companies will also include anti-malware programs. What we have often found is that the same program, same company looking for two different things doesn't always work as well. So having Avast for antivirus and having Malwarebytes for anti-malware often works better,
right,
than having one program trying to do both.
Right. Yeah. It's like getting a second opinion.
Yeah.
And for us, that's a much better deal. So, for my personal money, I think you should absolutely be using an antivirus program. I think you should be using an anti-malware program. And if you want to pay for that, that's great. That's great. I pay for my free one.
I would say in that token, though, yes, antivirus. And then I'd use super anti-spyware and Malwarebytes.
Yes.
Because both of them, one can't do it all. One goes wide, one goes deep.
Right.
So you need all three on your machine running to keep yourself safe for the time being. And they're usually doing great job of updating periodically, with new definition files and everything else as stuff keeps rolling out, because that's a daily task just in itself.
Right.
And you don't necessarily need to use the pay versions. The free versions are often enough. You run them when you think there's a trouble. But if you can, go ahead and pay for it, because then that keeps the development going.
Yeah, we always suggest you pay for it.
And some of it's automated. It'll do the...
if you pay for it, you can automate it. And
it can do it automatically for you in the background.
Right. And yes, there is obviously value in having the computer take away human error or human forgetfulness. So yeah, I get that absolutely. But in general, most of that stuff is just... You can, if you want to spend the money, God bless you. If you don't, there are ways to do it without spending the money. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, good.
And I've got sort of a related question that what you just said. I'm retired now. I don't have like a VPN through a company anymore. I'm retired, and I consider myself sort of low profile. I mean, I certainly search for things on the internet that I'm interested in, and I buy things through Amazon and stuff like that, but am I to the malware and spyware people still look for people like me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They don't look for anyone specifically. They look for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
Any computer.
They're bots, and they just go through everybody they can find. They don't care. Yeah, if you've got $4 in your checking account, they want $4.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that's what makes a lot of this spam so insidious, is that they make it scary or they make it simple. It used to be, we're all trying to be polite. So you get a message about a shipment that didn't work right. You're going to call them and tell them that wasn't me. I didn't order anything.
Where are you calling from?
Because you're trying to be nice. No, they know you didn't order anything. They're trying to steal your information.
Right. I used to respond to some of those things. I still get, because I work with a startup company, I get a lot of LinkedIn messages.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Oh, we got a couple minutes. We can do that. Absolutely. Our next caller is Jerry from New Orleans. How are things down in New Orleans?
Nolans.
They are warm and sunny.
Excellent. I hate you.
Yeah. Well, I hear you have sunshine in Rochester, New York. You get a rash at about 2 or 3 days a month?
Listen, mister, we get 56 days of sunshine a year officially. 56 days.
3 days a month. Yep. Okay.
That's right.
That information was right.
Yeah. No, Rochester summer is determined by 3 days of bad ice fishing.
Yeah, basically. So what's up, Jerry?
Well, speaking of fishing, every so often I get phishing emails and things like that, and I have decided to be a little bit proactive about it, so I'll click on the link, and when they ask for the personal information, I fill in the details from the local FBI office.
Yeah. Nice!
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great idea, Jerry.
I figure it's interstate commerce and wire fraud, so the FBI is the right guy to get to it.
That's very clever.
You could do your local sheriff's office.
Yeah. But Jerry's right. It's interstate commerce. That's FBI.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Jerry.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, the reason for my call actually was to talk about the DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials Suite. Now, I know that you folks are kind of the experts in computer security and things like that. And I wonder what your opinion of their particular set of products is as browser add-ons.
That's a very good question. A
loaded one.
I use some of the DuckDuckGo stuff. So one of the things you can do is you can get an email address at duck.com. And it strips out trackers and things like that for you before it sends the email on to you. It's really pretty cool, and I use that a lot. As far as the privacy essentials go, it's gotten some awfully good reviews from people. I don't use much of it myself because I have other things I use, but I've heard some good things about it. It's available for Safari and Chrome and Firefox. Listen, stay on the line. We got to take a break. Stay on the line. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Jerry from Nollins, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. Sound Bytes right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. See you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brad Siegel. 6 people were stabbed after an early morning fight in downtown Los Angeles. Police say the incident happened after 2 groups of people got into a confrontation, and it escalated from there. Police say the suspect, a man in his 30s, was taken into custody. The victims were taken to the hospital. 2 are in critical condition. At least 10 people are dead after severe storm slammed the South. 4 people died in Kentucky Friday, 1 in Tennessee, 3 in Alabama, and 1 in Arkansas. A 10th victim of severe weather died Thursday in Mississippi. Many of the deaths were caused by high winds, toppling trees, and vehicles submerged in floodwaters. Over 650,000 homes and businesses in Tennessee and Kentucky are still without power. President Biden's doctor says no further treatment is required after Biden had cancerous skin tissue removed last month. The White House doctor says Biden had a lesion removed from his chest, and it was sent for a biopsy confirming basal cell carcinoma. Brad Siegel, NBC News Radio.
Want to drive the chicks wild? Shake a tail feather. This is Sandra Tinglow with the Lowdown on Science. Nature is filled with mating dances. Peacocks shake their tails, spiders shimmy, and flamingos flamenco. They all boogie to their own beat. But is the timing of their two-step important? Benedict Hogan and Mary Stoddard at Princeton University checked out the hummingbird dance floor. Male broad-tailed hummingbirds have iridescent throats and perform U-shaped dives to woo the ladies. Their color changes at different angles and their tails buzz as they dive. Sexy. Hogan recorded about 50 of these dives in the Rocky Mountains. He analyzed the bird's speed, color, sound, and motion from a female hummingbird's perspective. It's quite the performance. After reaching top speed, males tilt their heads and buzz their tail feathers. These acrobatics change their throat color and the sound of the tail buzzing. All this happens in less than half a second. Researchers believe this magical male multitasking attracts females by demonstrating superior qualities. As for human males, they have to rely on their disco moves, minus the polyester suit, please.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation.
Here's another great reason to renew your Jazz 90.1 membership. The Jazz 90.1 member card and new mobile app. You'll automatically receive the card when you renew with a gift of $90.10 or more. You'll also be able to take advantage of tons of dining opportunities throughout the region, giving you 2-for-1 entrees or other savings at your favorite restaurants, and a great excuse to explore even more. Dine your way around town, all while supporting a station that nourishes your need for quality programming. Members supported Jazz 90.1. Jazz 90.1 and Greece Baptist Church are again pleased to present free community jazz and big band concerts this year. These performances will take place at Greece Baptist Church in their sanctuary located at 1230 Long Pond Road. There's plenty of parking, and the church is handicap accessible. Bring your family and friends and enjoy great free community jazz concerts this year. For more information, including a full series lineup, visit our website, jazz901.org. Are you thinking of adding a pet to your family? Greece Residents Assisting Stray Pets, or GRASP, is committed to reducing the number of homeless pets by placing dogs and cats into compatible, loving, permanent homes. For more information on how you can give a homeless pet a second chance through adoption, visit graspinc.org. GRASP, striving for the day when every dog and cat will live in a loving, safe, and healthy home.
The Age of Reason took place over 200 years ago. Truth, reason, and tolerance thrived and even shaped the U.S. Constitution. Now those building blocks of democracy are under attack. Big tech social media billionaires allow disinformation and hate to hurt our children, polarize us, and cause violence and terror in our communities. Online lies and hate affect everything, everyone, everywhere. Be a part of the change. Help defend our democracy. Go to counterhate.com to learn more.
Here's the latest Jazz 90.1 weather forecast.
Snow for the morning will taper to flurries by afternoon across Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes. Maybe another 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. The breeze will shift into the northwest. We'll look for temperatures to top out into the mid-30s for highs. Tonight, look for a few flurries. The overnight low temperature near 30 with the breeze diminishing. On Sunday, clouds will give way to some partial sunshine. The wind out of the west, behind near 40. It's mostly cloudy on Monday, behind the low 40s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we got cloudy skies, 32 degrees out at the airport, and 34 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Ray Seraphin. Join me this morning for Polka Bandstand at 10 a.m. on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
That's very timely.
Very timely. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we're still talking to Jerry from Nolans. Are you wearing your beads, Jerry?
No beads this time. Although I was thinking, as since your program is kind of positioned between the polka bandstand and the German hour, maybe you should try running the program in Estonian sometime.
There you go. That would work for me if I spoke Estonian, which I do not. So let's talk a little bit about DuckDuckGo. I'm an American. We don't speak foreign languages. We just shout until you get it. Let's talk a little bit about DuckDuckGo privacy essentials. So here are some of the things that it does. It changes your default browser to DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is actually a very good browser. It blocks trackers until you go to the website, right? Once you go to that website, all bets are off. But it blocks the fact that you searched something for there. So
then you use uBlock Origin to block the trackers on the website.
That's exactly right. Most hidden trackers are stopped by it. So that's nice. It does enforce encryption on sites to use HTTPS, but most sites do that anyway now, or your browser warns you that it can't. So, but okay. Email protection. We already talked about having a duck address at duck.com. So, something at duck.com if you had like Jerry at duck.com. When you got an email, what it will do is you have to give it a different email address when you sign up. And what it does is it strips out any trackers from that email and then passes the email to your real email address. And then when you reply, the reply goes through DuckDuckGo again before it's sent out. So that's all nice stuff. So that's nice. And one of the other things that it does is prevent fingerprinting. There's a lot of information that any website can gather about your system. And that creates a fingerprint, a unique ID that is you. And it blocks all those things. And of course, it blocks tracking cookies, which a lot of things do as well. However, there are things it does that a lot of other browsers don't do. For example, link tracking. Often enough, a website will track where you click to, and this prevents some of that.
You can see that a lot if you do a Google search.
Yeah.
The link you click to go where you think you're going, take a look at that link, and Google is in the link first.
Right.
So Google is tracking that you click this link to go to that result.
Right.
I can imagine they're doing that to see how good their search results are.
Right.
If you click on the 15th result down, that means they weren't very good.
Right.
But it does mean that Google can track wherever you're going.
Right.
DuckDuckGo says they don't do that.
Right. And there's social content tracking, right? So every website on the stinking planet has a Facebook link. And that link tracks that you went there. So Facebook knows you went there. Yep. Well, the protection, the DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials protection blocks that. Google has a thing called AMP, which I forget what that means, and it's not important. But it means that Google redirects some stuff, and this prevents that from happening. And you can set some other things like GDPR requirements, stuff like that. But so it certainly does give you a level of privacy that is missing from every other browser, from every browser. So if you add it to Safari or Firefox or Chrome, you're more protected. Notice I didn't say protected, but at the very least, more protected. Is that clear?
Yeah, so, yep, I understand. Now, the challenge that we have, and I'll tell you a story. I do IT support for some of my elderly neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put DuckDuckGo on Privacy Essentials on their browsers, a couple of days later I get a phone call, I can't connect with my airline because, it blocks all the pop-ups or whatever if the airline wants to use it during the booking process.
Right.
So I had to tell them how to turn it off in order to book their airline tickets from New Orleans to Tallahassee or wherever.
Right. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, so being reasonably well protected and privacy reinforced sometimes has its downsides, depending on who you're trying to do business with.
Double-edged sword.
And that's one thing that uBlock and Ghostery have is that there's a pause button or allow this site for now button, so that you click that and then the site can get to where it needs to go.
Right. So there was a problem at one point with, I think it was Ghostery, that was blocking JavaScripts that some sites require, like the IRS required it at one point. You couldn't log on to the IRS site without the JavaScript. Well, so they had to change their thing to say if you want to pause Ghostery for this site, you can now do that.
And that's the tough thing is detecting a malicious JavaScript from a real JavaScript.
Right. So that then places the onus on you. But if you decide to trust the IRS, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
But if you decide to trust the IRS, you can turn off Ghostery or uBlock Origin or any of those for that site. So
sometimes you have to download a tax form.
right, sometimes you do, and that's just the way that works. So yeah, you can make it a temporary turn off as well. So turn it off now, and then you turn it right back on again, and who cares?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, in general, I would say that the DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials is as good as other things, and in some ways, better. So if that's a thing you want to use, I'm certainly not going to say no.
Okay, and that you can say is a professional opinion?
And as professional as we get, yeah.
We're volunteers. We don't get paid.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I have one other question, and then I'll hang up and let you guys talk about it. What is the general vulnerability of Macs and Windows 10 and Windows 11 machines to what they call drive-by downloads? I kind of thought that a virus or some kind of infection like that really requires either somebody to click a link or you have to hand your computer to a bad actor, like you're going into a foreign country or something like that, and they want to do an incoming CPU inspection.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Displaying.
So I just wanted to get your views on risks about drive-by downloads.
Yeah, displaying an ad on a website can execute code because it's a website. Basically, it's a website in a website. So a malicious ad can download things to your computer.
Or just swiping, moving the mouse around can have background code that if you hit a spot that you didn't actually see anything, could all of a sudden do a backdoor, trigger to start downloading something.
Now, both Windows and Mac are better now than they used to be about automatically installing things you download.
Right.
Because people used to not know how to do that. But now they'll warn you downloaded this file. Is it okay to install? Or Windows, do you have to elevate your privilege? And the Mac, you're always an admin, and I wish they'd fix that. So it makes it harder to install those drive-by downloads. But they get downloaded quite frequently just by displaying an ad on a website. So a lot of people run an ad blocker, but then most websites won't run if you have an ad blocker on because that's where they make their money.
Mm-hmm.
So having something like uBlock or Origin that blocks the tracking stuff and it can block the automatic downloading of stuff, that will help stop that. And the other big threat these days is the fake virus warnings and fake tech support warnings that pop up and say you're infected. There'll be warning sirens and klaxons. There'll be a voice saying you're infected. Call this phone number to scare people into calling the phone number. And that doesn't matter what OS you're on.
Right.
In fact, it usually lies. Nick was on his Chromebook once, and he got a Windows virus infection warning and call Microsoft.
Yeah.
Right. And it gave me a number. That was very helpful.
Yeah, right here in the studio.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, generally speaking, everybody is vulnerable to drive-by downloads unless they're using something like uBlock Origin or DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials or one of those that blocks that kind of stuff.
And Safari on every download says, "Are you sure you want to let this site download things?"
Right.
And so if it's a site, if you weren't expecting to download something, don't.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, every website has the ability to show ads, and that's how most of them make their money. Some of those ads are unscrupulous or placed by bad actors, and those can download stuff to your machine if you're not wary or running something that blocks them.
And the ad network is mostly automated. There's millions of ads every minute. And so a company writes an ad, puts it into the network. Websites subscribe to ad generating networks like DoubleClick from Google, right, to display ads, and no one can monitor millions of ads a minute. So everything is so automated. Website authors are always trying to scan for malicious ads and remove them. So if you get a malicious ad on a website, congratulations, you're first.
You're right.
And the other thing, though, you got to be wary of is when you're downloading stuff, quite often they bundle other stuff with it. So you could be installing this one program and people falsely think, well, because they might have tacked on 3 other items that they want to install on your machine because they're getting money from these other providers to include it in their bundle.
You want to install this toolbar? You want to install this toolbar?
And they add this stuff in. You can decline to install that and only install the basic product, and you're okay.
And they're usually checked on by default that you do want to install it.
Yeah, and people just get click happy, boom, 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 and then all of a sudden they got all this other garbage in there, and they only wanted this one program, but they've got now 3 other features, as they think they are, installed that you really don't want nor need. So you got to do your homework and take time, see what's on the screen, and install it carefully.
Okay. All right, super, guys. I appreciate the Computer Science 102 behind web design and the Economics 300 course that you just taught.
Yeah.
And, how web companies make money.
Thank you.
All right, guys,
Send us money.
Thank you very much. I have to go put my swimsuit back on.
There you go. I hate you. I hate you like you wouldn't believe.
Jerry, just remember us because we got a pledge drive coming up soon.
That's right.
To call in and pledge.
I'm a member, but thank you.
That's what we like to hear.
That's what we like hearing, my friend. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Bye-bye. Jack asked, how does DuckDuckGo make money? Well, they sell products. There are products that they sell. They also give away a lot of stuff, and they have corporate sponsors and things like that that are they're charitable donation kind of places. So that works okay. We also had a.
You should mention though. Some folks might not know it because you just did it last week. As far as changing the chat room.
Oh yeah, the chat room. We have an online, and that's good because we got a question from Ken in the chat.
Good segue.
Good segue. We have a new chat. If you go to our homepage, soundbytes.org, the first link under some important links is the Soundbytes chat, which is only live during the show. And you can click on that and join in our link. We had many multiple places where you could chat, and we just can't keep up anymore.
No.
And the heck with it. We're just not going to bother right now.
And it doesn't drive any traffic to our website.
But the thing here is that what we're looking to do is make our lives easier, quite frankly. So if you want to join in the chat, we don't look at the YouTube chat. We don't look at the Facebook chat. We don't look at the Twitch chat. We don't look at any other chat. We look at the chat at soundbytes.org/chat. Pretty simple. Soundbytes.org/chat. And to that end, although generally speaking, we don't answer questions in the chat. That's not what it's for. But we do have a question from Ken, which says, what do you think of installing Windows 11 on an unsupported PC, provided it is not my main PC? If it is not your main PC, we don't have a problem with you doing anything to it. The fact is that that Windows 11 does install just fine on many unsupported PCs,
and
that's not all unsupported.
Depending on how old it is.
And the support list keeps growing too. And
Right.
the very first announcements of Windows 11, it said you're going to require a TPM and a 10th generation chip. Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, what I would recommend to him, since this sounds like it's not his main computer,
right?
And he's saying it's an unsupported one, try Xubuntu.
Sure.
I mean, you can make it look like Windows.
Right.
It's got all the same features. And once you install it, you can even dual boot, whether you want it to go into Windows or Xubuntu.
Right.
But I'd say go there first. Learn a new operating system. So if you want to slowly, like I'm doing, wean yourself off of Windows, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The big issue with an unsupported computer is, will you find drivers for your devices?
Right.
Your sound card, your Ethernet card, your Wi-Fi. Well, Ethernet's not that common anymore, is it?
Right, not so much.
Yeah, your Wi-Fi card, things like that. And does that company that made that card have a Windows 11 driver for it? And they may not.
Right. So here's the thing: if the reason you're putting Windows 11 on that machine is to play with Windows 11, then yeah, absolutely go for it. But be aware that it may not work. Certainly, if it is not your main PC and you're willing to downgrade back to 10 or whatever it takes, you've got a couple of days, I think, to do that still. That's fine. Or if you then want to turn it into a Linux machine or a Chrome OS Flex machine or whatever. But yeah, if unsupported is one thing, how old it is something else.
Mm-hmm.
If it's more than, say, 5 years old, you're not going to have a great experience of Windows 11,
especially if
no
it
matter
doesn't
what.
have that chipset.
No matter what. Yeah, no matter what. So,
You want a quad i5 with
yeah.
8 gigs of RAM minimum, and 16 is better.
16 is better. So, the bald fact of can you doesn't necessarily mean you should. So take a close look at your specs, take a close look at your needs before you decide to do that. But again, if it's a machine that you're not normally using anyway and you want to play with it, try it.
Go for
In
it.
the spirit of adventure, we say go for it.
Especially if it's not his primary, play around.
Sure. If you don't like Windows 11, then go with some form of Linux. We both prefer Xubuntu, but there are, Linux Mint is people say is the easiest version to learn. There's PCOS and a bunch of others. So look around and play, and you can find something you'll enjoy. There's Chrome OS Flex, which essentially turns it into a Chromebook. And again, that's very useful for a lot of things. We're gonna hear from the people who are programmers and photographers. I can't use that. Okay, you can't use it. Nobody said you could. Remain calm. But that's just the way that goes. So it's a choice that you can make, and that's how that works. And yeah, the Digger asked, well, where do you vote on the homepage? And it's at 90 Jazz 90. No, voting on the homepage for today's poll is at soundbytes.org. That's bytes with a Y.
Francis would like
us to remind you. And people keep asking you, Francis.
You should get registered Bytes with an I too. With
that's already a company in England that makes something. I forget what.
There's no page there.
Oh no! It used to be there. Oh well, maybe I will then.
Mm-hmm.
And put up a big sign that says.
Or just do a redirect.
Oh, it's a Parker. A Parker has it.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, well, you put up a big sign saying that's Bytes with a Y, friend, and signed to Francis.
Yeah. Francis has appeared.
Click here to correct your mistake. Yeah.
Area code 339 is the Parker.
I don't know where that is, but you'll look that up in a moment. Yeah. Yeah. And then Fred says, would you share information on adding uBlock to Samsung Android devices? You can add uBlock Origin to pretty much any device. You go to the Play Store, and in the Play Store you go to Apps, and you, if it's available, where's my search bar? There it is. Just search for uBlock. Hello?
I don't see uBlock itself, but I see other ones. AdBlock, Ghostery is available. I think uBlock might only be available for desktop browsers.
Oh, that's possible. There are others. Ghostery is very good. Actually, very good. So maybe you want to take a look at Ghostery instead. So that's an alternate choice. It does much the same thing as uBlock Origin. Quite frankly, I just
you get a little ghost icon instead of a U.
Exactly. The reason I use uBlock Origin is because that's the one I found first. They're both very good. Very good. There's no magic here. There's no actual science here.
No smoke
except
and
the
mirrors.
science, I suppose, of chronology. I found uBlock Origin first, started using and liked it. Ghostery does much the same thing and does it very nicely. So uBlock Origin actually has a shield, a red shield with I think UB in it. You use something, I don't remember. It's right there in front of me. I still can't see it. But that's in general, either one is very good. And if Ghostery is available for your phone. Now, the real question becomes which Samsung phone. If you've got one of the very low-end Samsung phones, it's going to be a problem in terms of the power of the phone. If you're talking about a higher-end Samsung phone, not a problem. But you really have to think carefully about what phone you have. And that's not just Samsung. That's anybody. There are lots of fairly low-end phones that work great for people until you start loading them up with stuff. Also, Samsung phones come with an amazing amount of bloatware that you cannot get rid of. So how much actual space do you have left for apps is a real question. If you've, again, got a lower-end phone with less RAM, less storage, it may be fairly full at this point. I really like Samsung's hardware. I detest their software. I detest it. I hate it with the heat of 1,000 white-hot suns, as they say. I'm not a fan, shockingly enough. All right. That music right there tells us that you have wasted an entire hour of your life with this nonsense. But we know you're a slow learner, and so there's a whole nother hour of the longest-running computer show in the known universe coming your way. That's right. A whole nother hour of Dave Enright, a whole nother hour of Steve Ray, a whole nother hour of Nick Francesco, and a whole nother hour of you. You can give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299, or toll free at 800-790-0415, and we'll be monitoring the Soundbites chat, and we'll be taking your calls, and we'll be reading the news, and we'll be talking about computer stuff, and it's just going to be fun. You're listening to Soundbites on the truly great and truly grateful to you that we are member-supported Jazz 90.1. Take a bio break. We'll see you on the other side.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Soundbites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester. A public service of the Greece Central School District. Jazz 90.1.
On Twitter at 901jazz.
NBC News Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. At least 11 people are dead as a powerful storm system continues its march across the country. 4 people were killed in Kentucky, 3 in Alabama, 2 in Tennessee, and 1 each in Arkansas and Mississippi. President Biden had cancerous tissue removed from his body and no further treatment is required. More from Brian Shook.
That's according to the White House physician. The president had a skin lesion removed from his chest at Walter Reed Medical Center, and it was sent for a biopsy, which confirmed it was basal cell carcinoma. A White House release affirms all cancerous tissue was successfully removed.
A Nobel Peace Prize winner is being sentenced to 10 years in prison in Belarus. Ales Bialyansky served as the chair of the Vyazna Human Rights Center and received the prestigious nod last year for his work as a human rights activist. The court found him and several of his colleagues guilty of a number of alleged financial crimes. Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
Ready to become a member of Jazz 90.1? It's easy to do and it feels so good. Just call 966-5299. That's 966-JAZZ, or pledge securely online at jazz901.org. And remember to check if you work for a company that matches donations. This could double or even triple your pledge. Anytime is a good time to become a member of Jazz 90.1.
Grace Arcadia High School is proud to present the musical comedy The Addams Family on stage March 10th, 11th, and 12th at Arcadia High School. Tickets are available at the door the day of the performance, payable by cash or check only. For more information, you may visit greececsd.org.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip. On March 18th and 19th and 25th and 26th, more than 180 New York maple farms open their sugar houses and invite you to experience the world of pure New York maple syrup, from tapping the trees to enjoying it on a piping hot stack of pancakes. Some maple producers will be demonstrating the making of mouthwatering products such as maple cream and maple cotton candy, and most will be offering free samples. Many participating farms will also have a variety of additional activities, including pancake breakfasts, horse and wagon rides, kids' corners, and more. For more information on Maple Weekends, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com or dial 1-800-CALLNYS. That's 1-800-CALL-New York State. Delicious, pure maple syrup. New York State. Come be a part of it.
Kids across America are going to school hungry. Millions of kids every day. But one simple thing can help change all of this for a hungry child in America. Good, healthy food and the energy it brings. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. To learn more about ending child hunger in America, go to helpnokidhungry.org today.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the U.S., 22 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you're someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com, home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
I thought it was a rash, but my doctor said it was a tick bite. Ticks can spread Lyme disease and other illnesses, leading to chronic health issues.
My brother was always having asthma flare-ups. A roach problem at home was causing it.
Allergens left behind by roaches and rodents are a major driver of asthma attacks.
When I had a fever and body aches, I never thought it was West Nile virus.
Mosquitoes breed in standing water and can spread serious diseases. Get the facts at pestworld.org. A public service message brought to you by the National Pest Management Association.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 5 minutes after the hour, we are hurtling headlong into the second hour of the longest-running computer show in the known universe, Sound Bytes, right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Answering Fred again. Is it Fred? Yeah, A32-5G. I'm assuming that's the Samsung phone you have. I don't know their numbers. If it didn't cost you much, it may have a problem running it. If it cost you a lot, it probably won't have a problem running it.
If it's running basic Android, you should be okay. If it's running their weird OS, probably not.
Could have.
Well, there's
issues.
that too. Yeah. Listen, we've
no guarantees.
We've said this many times. The big dog has to be the last one to mark the tree. So when Google creates a version of Android, they put it on Pixel phones. You're done. It's stock Android. It works right every day. When they send it to another company, those companies add software to it. They make changes to the UI. Sometimes they make changes at the back end. And then they send it out to you. So A, you get things later. And B, sometimes they don't work the same way or as well or at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, particularly on a Samsung phone, by default, you get Samsung's messaging system, you get Samsung's photo things, you get Samsung's browser, you get Samsung's everything, and you don't have some of the synergy. For example, I have Messages on the Web, which is a free service from Google. I can log in to my browser on my desktop and see my text messages. So if I'm working away and I get a text message, I don't have to go find my phone and answer it. I just switch over to that tab.
Of many?
Not of many, but to that tab, and
That's what he
I
says,
can
folks, don't believe him.
and I can answer it right there on the thing. That as near as I know, back in the day when I had a Samsung phone, that did not exist for that. So there's just features that you either don't get or are different, and that Samsung doesn't make money if you use Google stuff. Google makes that money, so they want you to use their stuff, so they make the money. It's the same thing with Bixby. It's called Bixby, which is their assistant. Well, okay. If you would rather use their assistant than Google's, that's fine. You can choose what you want, but do not confuse the two. Bixby isn't Google Assistant, and vice versa.
That's the one thing that threw me, though. Was when I got my very first Pixel phone. Turned it on, and the girl showing it to me. And she goes, "There you go." And I go, "There's nothing here."
Yeah, yeah.
She goes, "Yeah, you get to put whatever you want on it."
Yep.
I go, "Seriously?"
Yep.
She goes, "Yeah, it's a Google base, so you can put your Gmail account on here, and away you go." Cool.
Yeah.
Not all that bloatware.
Right.
See, Google is the only company that doesn't anthropomorphize their assistant.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we've got the B word and the S word and the A word and
right. and just Google Assistant, and you use the actual name Google.
I guess we can say Cortana now because Microsoft abandoned her.
Yeah, she's been abandoned. Didn't help Halo much. Didn't help Microsoft either.
Yeah.
So.
Just another typical reason, like I've said before, with so many other things with Microsoft.
Yeah.
They roll them out, and then
roll them away.
Throw them away.
Exactly right. You see that on Microsoft Windows as well, because Microsoft's not making enough money off of you, so they've added Candy Crunch or whatever that's called, and
all those games,
a bunch of games, and a bunch of utilities, and a bunch of other stuff. Those companies pay Microsoft to be on those pages so that everybody gets that game or gets that utility.
That is one cool thing about, I'm going to put a shameless plug in here, for Revo Uninstaller, the paid version.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously cheap for, a 2-year subscription. But with the advantage of this, like we said, you pay for something, you usually wind up getting more features. Well, in this case, if you get a new computer and you put that on, like Nick was saying, you get all this bloatware on there. Well, with Revo Uninstaller, the paid version, you can go down that list of all the Windows stuff installed and select it, and then hit the uninstall.
Yep.
It will go through and get rid of every program that you clicked that was put on there for bloatware. So you don't have to go through the Windows uninstaller for each one individually. No, you can make this whole list, hit one button, and it gets rid of them all.
Right. One of my favorite things is I get email from a friend regularly, and at the bottom of the email, there's an obviously thing that's been added that says such and so program has checked this for viruses and add-ons and blah, blah, blah. None of them are there. There are no ads in this email. Oh, excuse me, that's an ad.
That's information.
Oh, I see. As opposed to an ad. I get it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that distinction. Without a difference.
Yep.
All right. Wait, did I just delete something? Nope.
Undo.
That's exactly right. Control Z is your friend, people.
Yeah.
Back to the phones. Our next caller is Walter from Greece, New York. Hi, Walter. What's up?
Hello there, Nick, Steve, and Dave.
How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Reason I'm calling is that I can recall many, not in the distant past, Spectrum Charter was lambasted by the state for failing to provide internet service out into remote rural areas, etc.
Right.
And now we're seeing on the TV loads of these T-Mobile 5G home internet ads.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's going to be the panacea, the cure that Spectrum could not provide?
In some cases, yes. Now, for example, my sister and brother-in-law and brother-in-law live on a horse farm in Upper Arizona.
Uh-huh.
There's no lines, there's no phone, there's no lines of any sort running anywhere near her place. So they have, obviously, their cell phones.
Yeah.
And they have, I don't remember whose, but one of the phone companies has an internet device where you buy internet from, it ain't cheap. But
microcell or nanocell.
Yeah, it's a nanocell of some sort that runs their internet as well.
Yeah.
So in rural areas, Google had that balloon thing for a while. What do they call it, Loon or probably
Loon? Yeah.
Loon. Yeah. Was it Elon Musk who had Starlink?
Which is still running. They just launched 50 more satellites yesterday.
Right. And places, every cellular phone provider has those microcell things that you can buy. And in many, if she did not have that, they would not have internet.
Right.
Now, it's not tremendously fast, even at 5G.
Right.
And it is not cheap.
Yeah.
But they have it. If the choice is not or pay, they pay. So I think, and the thing about it is, it's ludicrously easy to set up. You take it out of the box, you plug it in, you turn it on, it's on. Then you connect to it just like you connect to any wireless browser, wireless network connection. So I think that's going to be the way it works in the future.
And what was kind of interesting is when New York State Public Service Commission yelled at Spectrum for not upholding their agreement earlier, and I think they fined him some. I'm trying to find the article. They fined him a little bit, and Spectrum says, "Oh, okay, we promise we'll do it this time for real."
Right. And a lot of
because the commission voted to kick Spectrum out of New York State because they weren't following up on their plans.
Right. And the easiest thing for them to do would be to partner up with one of these companies that provides cellular internet.
Well, they have, because Spectrum now has cellular.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Service themselves, yeah.
And that's the easiest thing to do, because if somebody says, "I want your service," we'll send you a microcell. We're done now.
What they've done, also, I'm reading a couple of stories here. You can get cellular internet out in the boonies. It's only going to cost you $8,000 in setup fees.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We're offering it. We don't actually have to provide it, but we're offering it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's yes. I understand that. I once did a freelance job for somebody and charged them an outrageous price because they didn't want to do it. They paid like that. I thought I underbid.
Yep.
Yeah, probably did.
But the price was so high because I didn't want to do it, and that's why it cost $8,000 for these things. But yeah, Walter, I think that something along the lines of microcells is going to be the thing people use. The problem that raises is having enough cell towers.
Yeah.
Because those do have to be wired, and then you only get so many people per cell tower, et cetera, et cetera.
Especially the 5G millimeter wave, which is a super fast one we all want. You need a cell tower every 200 or 300 feet.
Yeah, because they're line of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very tempting to me, because I'll confess, we are still using Frontier DSL, but we don't have any great demand for it. But the price is ridiculous with Frontier. And for $50 a month, and they say that you get 186 megabytes per second, which is a hell of a lot, 10 times more like 12 times faster than what we get with DSL.
Right.
It's very tempting. I'm not required, from what I could see, to sign up with any of the T-Mobile cellular plans. Don't need a cell phone because I have a very minimal cell plan through a very minimal one that cause I'm using it for emergency services only. It's very, very tempting. And then, too, from what I understand, I can almost get UMA for free after 18 months using their premium plan. I get the device for free, or I can go out and buy one from Best Buy for like I think $79, the lower end one, and I'm getting just as much for or better than what Frontier offers.
One of the big things to check on the cellular home internet is your data plan. Because like your cell phone, most of the home internets will have say a 10 gig a month plan. And if you stream, one movie, that's it. Or, you download one Windows update, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to be careful about how much data
usage
you get on your home internet service.
Okay. I'm looking at some of the stuff. I'll have to explore further, but it seems to me that it's what T-Mobile is offering is unlimited. And it's like, because I'm not using voice, I'm just using their internet plan. And, I don't need anything more than that.
Yeah, I'm looking at trying to read their fine print and see what it says.
Yeah, that's why I've been looking at it, too. I've got their card they mail us, too, and I don't see anything other than they do note that it will be throttled back.
There you go.
Depending upon the demand by other callers using their towers.
Right, so they don't limit you to the number of gigs, they'll limit you to the speed. So if you exceed 10 gigs, for example, it will drop you to dial-up speed.
Right.
Okay.
And I will admit that I've gotten more curmudgeonly than I thought I could. I was watching a show on Freevee, which is Amazon's free service, and I was watching during the day. It was great, and then at night it buffers every like 8 seconds. Annoyed the living stuff out of me. I had to give up. I admit I'm one of those people who doesn't want to wait anymore. Instant gratification isn't fast enough. And the heck with it. I'm old and I don't want to wait. So you may find you're not the person you thought you were once you started. What's the saying? Don't marry somebody until you see how they react to slow internet.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
And then we get so jaded because both Nick and I have green. You've got Greenline now too, right? Mm-hmm. At home. That at work we've only got 300 meg spectrum.
Right.
And it's so slow.
Right. Well, and that's just it. I'm not used to waiting anymore. So when Freevee buffers, I know it's the freebie end. I understand that. But it annoys me. Oh, get a bigger server, people.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to say that this stuff is tempting because, yes, you have Greenlight, but we can't get it, as I understand, in our area because we have the Parkway there, and apparently they're still negotiating or fighting over how to get the fiber optic across
the easement.
Side.
Yeah. The problem is that the people who own the easement have no incentive for helping their competitors. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, quite frequently it's a competitor that lives on that corner.
Well, the thing of it is the phone company now is stringing fiber.
Yes, they are.
Right.
And doing their own
like
thing.
They're the first.
Yeah. Finally, fiber in Rochester. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I've tried to look at it, and it's like, no, it's not available. It won't. We can't get the fiber across the darn.
Well, the other big thing that they're going through right now, and you'll see it all over the city, is they changed the regulations for the poles. And they're going around all over the city and having to put up bigger poles or taller poles so that they can get the phone lines on there, the power lines on there, and the internet.
And 5G, which is, like you said, hundreds of feet rather than yards or miles.
So they've got to have these taller poles. So they're going around all over Rochester, getting rid of the shorter phone poles and putting up taller ones.
Yep. One thing we've also seen with Frontier and other DSL services is they'll run a second wire to your house and bond the two of them together, and so you can get twice as fast, which is still slow for DSL.
Right.
But you get faster than it would for a single line. But there has to be lines available. And well, actually, now, since more people, there used to be a really hard time with phone numbers and phone lines, but the phone lines is getting easier as more people have gone to cellular and cable. But phone numbers is still tricky.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got a DSL line, I thought it was the fastest thing I had ever seen in my life.
From 57K, we went to 5,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
K. And
okay. Walter?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah. The only other comment I can make, though, is that Dave was bringing up about the telephone poles.
Yeah.
Everything here is underground. So it's like, man, how are they going to be digging around and doing all of that to get us? That's why it's tempting to go cellular for us.
Right. That's exactly right.
Okay, that's all I need to know from you guys.
All right, thanks, Walter.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we used to worry a lot about the rural people because there was no way to get internet to them that wasn't ludicrously expensive. Now with microcells, it conceivably could be cheaper.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't seem to be yet. But if you're going to go with something like a microcell, check your not the warranty, the
terms of contract.
Terms of contract. Check your contract. See if you can get it month by month for a while. Might cost you a little more, but if you to see whether or not it's something you like, or if there's a cancellation clause where you can say, I've got 3 months to cancel this service, no penalty.
Or you locked into it for a year.
Right.
And I've also heard from some of our customers that they complained loud enough about spotty cell service that their carrier gave them a microcell to plug into their home internet.
Right.
So now they get better cell service at home.
Right. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Brian from Gates, New York. What's up, Brian?
Not much, guys. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Nick, I know that you are on the opposite side of the center of the city than I am.
Right.
I watch Freevee every night, maybe an hour in one stretch, doing a little binging of Night Court, the classic Night Court.
Oddly, that's exactly what I've been watching.
And I have no trouble. I never buffer.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's got to be.
You live in the wrong place. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's clearly my problem. Pinnacle Hill. Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it's a connection somewhere between Freevee and me that doesn't exist between Freevee and Brian.
It's the extra cell towers that they're throwing up on top of the hill there.
That's right.
That could be. Could very well be.
And this is separate from Amazon Video, right? Amazon Prime Video show.
No,
so this is weird.
It's coming in. It's coming in on Greenlight.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other thing was, last night I was watching a movie on Netflix, and it was about the coal, the ironworks in Norway. Norvik, yeah. And in the middle of the movie, there's an intense artillery barrage, and one goes off right next to the heroine and her child with a big bang and a flash and all like that. And at exactly the same second, I mean, you couldn't time this, is when the thunderstorm hit.
Yeah, that's still...
From the TV, I had lights outside. And holy gee, talk about realism. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, the snow thunder.
3D TV.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have timed it any better.
That's hysterical.
So all kinds of wild things can happen on TV these days.
Yeah, it's the truth. That's the truth. All right, thanks, Brian.
Have a good time there, guys.
You too. Bye-bye. Yeah, all right, so clearly there's an issue somewhere between the system and me. Again, I know it's not Greenlight because when it starts to buffer, I go and check my internet connection, download a big file, and it comes down just fine without a problem. So I know it's not that.
Something needs to be rebooted somewhere.
Something somewhere. Some sort of relay center between me and Freevee, as opposed to between where Brian is and Freevee. All right. Back to the phones. Our next caller is Dave from Rush, New York. Hi, Dave. What's up?
Yeah. Hey, I was calling you guys. I'm having a problem with my outgoing mail server. A few weeks ago, I got rid of Spectrum and I changed over to Frontier Fiber. Mm-hmm. And after that, we kept our same email addresses, me and my wife. with the register.r.com. Everything was working fine and everything. I can receive email. My wife can receive emails, and she can send. When I sit there and I go to send an email, it's not recognizing the sender's address.
The sender's address?
Correct.
Is this every email?
Yes.
Now, when I canceled my Spectrum service, they instantly canceled my email service.
Yeah.
So I'm very surprised you kept your rr.com email address after canceling Spectrum.
Yeah.
And I still had Spectrum TV. I just canceled internet at the time.
Right.
And they killed my email.
Interesting.
They promised, that we can keep our same email address the whole bit. And, and like I said, on my desktop, I'm in the 2 account emails, and my wife has no problem sending and receiving, and I have no problem receiving. But when I do go to send, it's rejecting the sender.
What address are you using for the sending server?
Hang on, let me get in there. It is it's a TMW address. That's why. When I go into the accounts, properties, and advance into the servers themselves. Incoming mail, PLP, that's a mail.twc.com. Outgoing mail, SMTP, that's a mail.twc.com also.
So that in my mind, you're trying to use the Spectrum mail server. You're not a Spectrum customer, so they're rejecting your mail.
Correct. Yes.
Is it those folks who use Yahoo?
No, Frontier uses Yahoo.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Now,
so you could try changing the sending address to be the Frontier mail server, which is Yahoo. Although the Frontier Fiber might use a different server. I'm not sure.
All right, stay on the line. We got to take a quick break.
Okay.
Stay on the line. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, with Steve Ray, with me, Nick Francesco, with Dave from Rush, and with you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You are listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That would be Sound Bytes, right here on the truly great and truly grateful to you that with your help, we are member-supported Jazz 90.1. See you shortly.
Computer talk you can understand. More Sound Bites is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
NBC News Radio, I'm Julie Ryan. Former President Trump is set to deliver the keynote speech as the Conservative Political Action Conference comes to a close this evening. Nikki Haley is the only other major Republican candidate to speak to the annual gathering of conservatives. The CPAC wraps up tonight on the outskirts of Washington, D.C., with Trump's speech following a presidential straw poll. At least 11 people are dead as a powerful storm system continues its march across the country. Jim Forbes has more.
Many of the deaths were caused by high winds, toppling trees, and vehicles being submerged in floodwaters. Over 650,000 homes and businesses in Tennessee and Kentucky are still without power.
Attorneys for convicted murderer Alec Murdaugh say they will file an appeal. Defense lawyer Jim Griffin made the comment shortly after the once prominent attorney was sentenced to life in prison Friday for killing his wife and son. Julie Ryan, NBC News Radio.
Glossy green leaves, fragrant flowers, and edible fruit make growing Meyer lemon plants indoors a worthwhile endeavor. Hi, I'm Melinda Myers, horticulturist and gardening expert. Grow your plant in a sunny window and supplement low light conditions with artificial lights. Avoid drafts of hot and cold air that can lead to flower and fruit drop. Use a quality potting mix and container with drainage holes. Don't be anxious to move your plant into a larger pot, as citrus plants like to be somewhat pot-bound. Water thoroughly whenever the top few inches of soil are beginning to dry. Overwatering and growing plants in too large a container can lead to root rot. Apply fertilizer, as directed on the label, between April and September. Improve your success by increasing the humidity around your plant. Place it on a gravel tray filled with water. Keep the pot elevated above the water level. Check out our website for this and other gardening tips. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by Summit Responsible Solutions, a manufacturer of organic, all-natural insect pest control products, including Summit Sticky Traps. Sticky traps can be used to manage pests on indoor plants and do not contain pesticides. Sticky traps are available at local and national garden centers and hardware stores. Information on how to control insect pests can be found at summitresponsibleSolutions.com. Jazz 90.1 is supported in part by our members and by animal repellent Plant Skid. It's organic and safe for use on fruits and vegetable gardens, as well as trees, shrubs, and flowers. Plant Skid uses odors associated with predators, encouraging animals like deer, rabbits, bulls, elk, moose, chipmunks, and squirrels to dine elsewhere. Information on how to protect plants from animal damage can be found at plantskydd.com. That's plantskid.com.
When we walk, when we reach, when we play, we're moving through life. But an estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side, because we are meant to climb, to dance, to soar, to thrive. Choose to move. Choose physical therapy. Visit ChoosePT.com.
Jazz 90.1 weather.
Snow for the morning will taper to flurries by afternoon across Rochester, western New York, and the Finger Lakes. Maybe another 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. The breeze will shift into the northwest. We'll look for temperatures to top out into the mid-30s for highs. Tonight, look for a few flurries. The overnight low temperature near 30 with the breeze diminishing. On Sunday, clouds will give way to some partial sunshine. The wind out of the west, behind near 40. It's mostly cloudy on Monday, behind the low 40s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now, we've got cloudy skies, 33 degrees out at the airport and 35 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
This is Matt Shackelford. Join me or Rick Petrie on alternating Tuesdays from 9 to midnight on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Very loud. Stop it!
I control the board.
You will be paying for my next hearing aid. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
What? I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 34 minutes after the hour, we are Sound Bytes.
And we still have Dave on the line.
And we still have... Yeah, we do.
So, Dave, you are physically connected to Frontier's internet service now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Try changing the sending server address to smtp.frontier.com on port 465, and SSL on and authentication is password.
Okay, hang on a second. So
outgoing server is smtp.frontier.com, because typically you would want your outgoing server to be the internet service you are connected to, and you're using their mail server.
Also, check your wife's system and see how it's set.
Maybe it already is set
I
to
still
that.
think, my opinion is 10 to 1 odds the account was originally set up in your name?
Correct. Yeah.
All right, so you canceling it, they probably shut your email off, but didn't get around to ever shutting hers down.
And since you're not a customer anymore, the Time Warner server, TWC, still Time Warner, you're not a customer, so it rejects you sending mail through them, because most mail servers will only accept mail from their own customers as a way to combat spam.
Right.
So if you switch to sending through the Frontier server,
And she sort of slipped through.
And she's still connected with that.
Yeah.
What was that again, guys? I'm sorry, the outgoing mail. What do you type in?
SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol.
Yep.
.frontier.com.
.frontier.com.
And it's on port 465. What mail program are you using?
Windows Live.
I don't know that one offhand. There should be a username and password field.
Yes.
Which is your Frontier email address and your Frontier password.
Yeah. And then it says remember password or whatever. Then it gives you three things down below. It says logging on using clear text authentication. That's one that's checked.
Yep. Authentication should be set to password.
Okay, yeah. Well,
or yes.
Log on to using secure password authentication. That is not highlighted.
That should be set to yes or checked yes.
Okay. And then the next one down says log on using authentic PLP, parentheses, APLP.
No, you're not using POP.
Okay. But change that. There's one setting. It says log on to using secure password authentication. That's what I want.
Yes.
Okay. It was checked at the very clear text authentication.
Right. Because so it encrypts your password.
And that would reject you.
Right. Encrypts your password before it sends it to the other end, so that someone sniffing the wire doesn't get your password.
Correct. So in the outgoing mail, I want the SMTP. I want Frontier.
SMTP.frontier.com.
.com. Okay. I will give that a shout.
Okay. Let us know.
Hey, I will. I appreciate you guys.
Yep. Thanks much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Then I posted a link on our page to Frontier's website.
Nice. The other thing that I have to mention here is that we usually recommend that no matter what you're using for your internet service provider, you get a third-party email address.
Right.
And one that will not change no matter who your provider is. So whether that's Gmail or Yahoo or Apple or I don't care. The point is, if you have an email address through one of those parties, then when you change your internet service provider, which, listen, we live in the real world. It's going to happen whether you like it or not at some point. You'll have fewer problems with the sort of problems that these folks have been having.
Yeah, it's harder to change your email address than it is to change your postal address.
Yeah.
So at least the post office has a form and will forward your mail for you.
Right.
Changing your email address, you have to tell all of your friends, here's my new address, and they'll never take it out of their address book. They'll just reply to the last message. So you'll constantly get email being sent to the old address, and then they'll yell at you, why didn't you answer my message? I never got it. You sent it to the wrong address.
Right. And if you have the opportunity, if you are going to change your email address and they give you the opportunity to keep the old one, the first thing you should do is set it to forward all of your email to the new address.
Yep.
Whether you keep the old one or not, have it forward all your email before you end it, right? All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Ron from Rochester, New York. What's up, Ron?
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up?
This is Dave still.
Oh, hi, Dave.
Hey,
with the email problem.
Last question. Yeah, the email. One of the main things that I did want to tell you guys is that, my wife is a realtor, and there is, she did not want to change her email address, considering, with all her business and cards, and that's why, and that's one of the things that Frontier did tell us. It's like, yeah, no, you're good on your original email.
Frontier lets you keep your email address, but I didn't think Spectrum did.
Right. No, we got rid of Spectrum.
Right.
We went to FrontierNet.
But she's still using her Spectrum address with Frontier.
Correct. Yep.
Well, good for her, but I don't know that that's going to last forever.
Yeah, she should get her. Well, as a realtor, she should get her own domain name and address, and start switching over to that.
Correct. No, I know it. I'm going to let her know on that. But all right, guys. Hey, I'll try this, and hey, thank you for your help.
Thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
All right, we'll try this again.
Push that button.
Dave is.
And then push the other buttons.
Dave is currently attaching jumper cables to the bolts in his neck. We'll see what happens this time. Do we actually have Ron from Rochester, New York now?
We have Ron from Rush, New York.
Ron from Rush, New York. Okay. What's up, Ron?
I'm a fairly new listener, so I don't know if you cover Mac much at all.
That's why we have Steve here.
Okay. Well, been a Mac user since the 90s, and I've never had any real security issues. But my wife is a little nervous about it with all the recent things going on, and I'm just wondering if there's any specific security software or things I can do that would calm her nerves and protect us if there is much liability there.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much the programs we've already mentioned today. Malware Bytes is a very good anti-malware program. The free version you run yourself periodically. The pay version runs automatically. The Mac has a built-in antivirus tool that you can use, kind of like Microsoft's Defender, which is built into Windows. Or you can run a third-party program like Avast or AVG are really good free programs. We often say don't run the big programs like McAfee and Norton because the virus writers know about the big programs and they won't release a virus until it gets past them.
Right. The thing you might want to do is head on over to securitytango.com.
Is that linked on the new homepage?
It might not be linked directly. I'll fix that. But it's securitytango.com. There are a number of choices. One is one of the menu items is Let's Dance, and that lists every operating system. So you select the Mac Arena. Get it? The Mac Arena. Never mind.
That was a really popular meme when he wrote that.
When I wrote that 20 years ago. And so what you do is you go to the Mac Arena page and you can see a bunch of programs that you can load on a Mac that will protect it from viruses and malware and all that other stuff.
All right. Thanks. Well,
a lot of it is the same advice as don't click on links in email. Don't trust any message that pops up and says you need to install this or that you have a virus and call this phone number. Even if it claims to be from Apple, it's not, and it's lying to you.
Sure. I squash those all the time, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okie doke.
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not on the Greenlight network out here, but I hear that Frontier is, and I'm just wondering if I have Spectrum now, and I use internet quite frequently for my business, and just wondering how reliable you think that Frontier fiber is.
So far, from what I have heard, they're very reliable. You're right. I don't have it either, so I don't honestly. I can't give you my personal experience.
Can't speak to it.
But anecdotal evidence is that it's very, it's very good.
And they have a check availability page on their website to see if they even offer it in your area.
Right.
Sure.
And I will say that in general, if you're a home user, that's your decision. But a business, it really should be on as fast as they can get, generally speaking. I get that. Yeah, take a close look at it. And again, look at the contract. You know, if they have a 3-month trial or that sort of fare, then give that a look.
Sure. All right. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks. I will say that in terms of, in terms of all of the providers in town, they have so far seemed quite reliable. Again, we don't. I only have Greenlight, so I can't speak from experience of the others lately. But I have, in the course of my life, had all 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And except for the obvious, a truck ran into a pole or there was an ice storm and a pole came down kind of thing, they have all been incredibly reliable. So I wouldn't worry about the service availability.
And I say Greenlight has now a 5 gig plan.
Yes. Yeah.
That's probably for apartment buildings, but I wouldn't mind it myself.
I wouldn't mind it. Yeah. I wouldn't mind 5 gig.
$200 a month is a little high, but
yeah. I didn't say I'd pay for it. I said I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, that's why it's for apartment buildings and whatnot.
Right. For me, a gig is really more than adequate. So I don't have a problem with that. So, but yeah, you can get up to 5 gig now on all kinds of things. Frontier offers it, I know, and Greenlight offers it. And again, if you're if you're a company or an apartment building or that sort of fare, then yeah, 5 gig is not a lot of money for a business.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's not.
It's especially if you got to keep that company up and going with all the other associates on your network,
right?
And make it so they can be very productive too.
In a home, you don't need that much, obviously, but in a business, absolutely you might. Yeah.
Sometimes, as I mentioned, we've got 300 meg spectrum in our office.
Right.
Sometimes Tyler's in the other room downloading an iPhone update that's 10 gigs, and I'm in my area and downloading a Mac update that's 10 gigs, and we're both complaining about how slow the internet is.
Yep.
And then Jackie's in her office and saying, "Why can't I get to my website?" Sorry, we're downloading large files.
Right.
We're working.
You know, that's why a business needs those higher speeds.
And it doesn't, we save our downloads so we can use them again.
Right.
But then in a week, there's a new version, and we have to download the new version. So there's always something new to download.
Right. So what you need to do is have somebody go into the office at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And download today's updates.
Yep.
Assuming they're available at 2 a.m.
We should be able to write some sort of script to watch the download service and see when a new version pops up and
you would
download
think
it
they would
automatically.
offer that to you.
To automatically,
an RSS feed where you
sign
go
up
and say
for it.
there's a new
To
one,
sign
here
up
it is.
for that service.
Yeah.
That if you get an update, download it and put it here.
Yep. Yeah, I would. I wouldn't personally, but if I were you, I would pay for that service.
Yeah.
It would be well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, Dell and that will, if you sign up for their service, let you know when they have updates to the video drivers.
It lets you know when
else.
it's available, but I want it to automatically download it to my server.
Well, if they offer us an RSS feed with the link in there,
we could turn an MDM on, and then it would do it. The MDM server would look and then push it to each of the computer. But it's our customers' devices. We don't want to put the MDM on.
Right. But if you had if you could download it, so when they come in, you could say, "Yeah, I got it right here in a thumb drive or whatever."
Especially when one of the first troubleshooting steps on phone problems is erase it and install a clean OS.
Right.
Okay, well, that's about half an hour to download the.
Let's start with the nuclear option.
Yeah.
That's probably that's the way to do it. Do it like that. But you know what? Often enough, that solves the problem. One of the things we've talked about over the years is you don't have enough backups. But the other problem is, what are you backing up? Yeah. And if you're backing up a virus, that's probably not a good idea.
Programs don't need to be backed up.
Well, but if you've downloaded a file that has a virus in it, a Word document or something along that line, and you haven't cleaned it,
then you're in trouble.
And at some point, particularly if a rootkit gets into your system, the only way to get rid of it is to reformat your drive.
Yep.
And sometimes that doesn't work, but that's really the way to do it. And so, yes, I do understand that every once in a while the answer truly is the nuclear option. Nuke it from orbit, it's the only way to be sure. So I get that, and I get that a lot of people don't have a fast connection. They don't have the knowledge to do that themselves. That's why they bring it into people like Steve or Dave and give them money to do it for them. But
is it a third-party incompatibility? Is it a hardware problem? Yeah.
Right.
A lot of factors that are involved in it.
And it's also frustrating when someone calls on the phone and says, what's wrong and how much is it going to cost to fix?
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
We won't know till we look at it. And our diagnostic rate is,
Right.
But, there's so many things it could be that it's impossible to diagnose anything over the phone.
And I always hated it when folks say, well, it shouldn't take you that long.
Yeah.
Well, then good. If it's not going to take that long, then you should be able to fix it.
You're right. It shouldn't take that long. That doesn't mean it won't, because sometimes one problem leads to another.
Yep.
We've seen that where
just trying to first find that problem,
right,
and where it's coming from.
Right. We tried this and it didn't solve it. Now what?
Yeah.
We can either say, well, it took me 10 minutes and it didn't fix your problem. That's $100. Or we can say, well, now we got to dig, and that's going to be more.
Mm-hmm.
Because until we actually know, we're only guessing.
Yeah.
We may call it theorizing or extrapolating from knowledge, but basically we're guessing.
I read that a story like that from an auto mechanic once. You know, someone's having a problem with the engine. Well, can't you just replace the engine? Sure. $20,000, I'll get you a new engine.
Right.
Or you pay the $100 diagnostic fee. We'll figure out what's wrong, and it might only be a few $100s.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. I had that on an old car, my father's car. We can repair the transmission,
Yep.
and it will cost this, or we can just replace the transmission, and it will cost half this. Okay. There's a no-brainer right there.
Yeah.
We have so many people that are so emotionally attached to their computers that they'll spend stupid money fixing it than replacing it.
Yeah, and
But I kind of understand. You know, that's the first computer I bought. Okay, we'll put it on the shelf with a little frame around it and buy a new one.
And then they expect you to, especially with these software updates and everything else, and you bring it in to clean it up in that forum, and they expect it to run faster like the day they bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that's not the way it works, folks. Quite often with system updates like Windows or Mac and the other software, they demand more resources. So, yeah, that program that maybe you got 3 programs that you were running when you first got it, and it worked really fast. And over a couple of years, they did some upgrades and everything else. Well, it's also taking more resources from that same computer that has so much memory in it, and it wants a little bit more, and it's slowing things down.
Right. It's like the question we got at the beginning. Can I put Windows 11 on an old machine? Well, if it's an i3 processor with 4 gig of RAM, yes, you can put it on. No, it will not be a good experience.
Nope.
It's that simple. It will simply not be. There's no magic here. Microsoft assumes you're running a very fast computer with a lot of RAM, because they are.
And SSDs are pretty much assumed now too.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you have an old machine with a spinning hard drive, you're done. That's one of the things. That we. That's why Dave suggested Xubuntu. Ubuntu runs really well on old machines and runs like blazes on a new machine.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something that runs really well on an old machine, it's not going to be Windows. It really is not going to be Windows.
We had a customer a couple of months ago brought in a 2007 Mac because he wanted to play with Linux, so he wanted us to erase it and put a clean Mac OS on it. And I'm thinking, sure, but if you're just going to put Linux on it, why are you having us do this?
Maybe you wanted a dual boot?
I guess.
I mean, some folks, just so they can have that cushion to fall back on.
Yeah.
And why not? If you're going to play around with it, what the heck do you got to lose? If he's cleaning it off and throws the, the Mac system on there and then dual boots, he can play in both worlds.
Yeah.
Right.
And have fun at it. And if it mucks up, oh, well, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Right, exactly.
Well, now we're running into an interesting... The transition into Apple Silicon was, we're in our 3rd year now. And so Intel Macs are all out of date.
Right.
And so Apple has this trade-in program where you can trade in your old Mac, and it's painful when you look up your 5-year-old Mac and it's worth $100.
Yep.
Ow.
Although,
in fact, I did that on this Mac, $2,000 retail model because it's the Super Pro. I looked it up and it's worth $900 now.
Yeah.
It's like you drive your car.
And that's more than I would have thought it would be worth at this point.
You drive your car off the lot and it loses half its value.
Yep, exactly right. And that's one of the things that, when I came to Cider and talked about putting a Chrome OS Flex or Linux. I have a couple of old, like I said, I used to take in laptops to move to immigrant families. Well, We don't have any. I'm a little out of that loop at the moment. But I had Macs that I was giving to people, and I would put Linux on it because they were too old to update to any form of Mac OS. But they're excellent hardware, and Linux runs on them just fine. Thank you very much. You can resurrect old hardware, but it's going to be a new operating system. And is it going to be a new operating system? Not really. It's still windowing environment. It's still a mouse. It's still a word processor. It's still a spreadsheet. It's just a little bit different.
There's a New Zealand-based comedy troupe called Viva La Dirt League. They do a lot of parodies of first-person shooter games, but they also have a series in the computer store. And there was this one episode where this guy walks in and I want the best gaming computer I can get, the best graphics card, the best monitor, and I want it to be an Apple. Gaming computer. No, they don't really do games. Casual games, sure, but not really first-person gamers.
Right. You want Alienware.
Yes.
That's what you want. All right. That particular music tells us that we are done for another week. I want to thank everybody who called in. I want to thank everybody who went with us in the chat. I may have to change the font size in the chat for here. But I want to thank Dave Enright, Steve Ray. I'm Nick Francesco. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. We are Soundbites, and at 58 minutes after the hour, we are on the truly great and truly grateful to you that we are member-supported Jazz 90.1. We will see you in just 166 hours. Be good to one another, will you?
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.